You don't love the spotlight.
I don't love the spotlight. I'm here because people told me it'd be good for CZI.
No one's ever been that candid with me in an interview.
And that is why you may not know Dr. Priscilla Chan's name, but we think you should.
The force of nature.
She wants to do good.
That woman is incredible.
She just cares immensely about people.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right. Solved. Yeah. Tied in a bow.
At just 33 years old, Priscilla Chan leads CZI, or the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, and what may just turn out to be the biggest change agent in Silicon Valley.
You and Mark have committed how much of your wealth to this?
Almost all of it, 99%.
Mark Zuckerberg, that is. Yes, Chan is Zuckerberg's wife, but her profile is rising, and not because of whom she's married to.
Max knows that I work at CZI.
Okay.
And Dada works at a bookstore.
She thinks, why does she think that?
We've told her Facebook, and she thinks Facebook is a bookstore.
CZI's goals are anything but modest, advancing human potential and promoting equal opportunity, while curing, preventing, or managing all diseases by the end of the century.
Most people would look at that and say, no way is that possible.
Antibiotics weren't a thing until the past 80 years. And that's incredible because so many lives are saved because of that. So if you look forward, what can we do in the next 80 years? We shouldn't even be able to imagine that today.
Backing CZI with 99% of their wealth. At today's Facebook stock price, that means some $61 billion in assets.
Who's the boss in the office? Isn't she, I mean, that's where she is every day. You only show up on Fridays, so I hear.
We work together on this.
I get the sense that she challenges you professionally. She pushes you.
And personally.
And personally.
So we had this funny situation where a few years ago, she found I was repeating her stories when explaining our education work about what was important in education. So she turned to me one day, and it's just like, you have to get your own stories.
Really?
Right, it's like, and I'm just like, come on, that's not really practical. I'm kind of busy. And she's like, no way, no, you're gonna go do this.
Well, I've taught him a lot of science. I'm like, I don't think Mark knows this. Will someone explain it to him?
In a sense, they've been teaching each other since they met in line for the bathroom at a Harvard frat party.
His friends were throwing him a party because they were worried he might get kicked out of school. Our real first date was about a week later.
Okay.
And we had gone out to have hot chocolate, and the date was going well. And then he said, I'm really enjoying this. Would you like to go watch a movie? I have a take-home midterm, but I'd rather do that instead. I was completely devastated.
Why?
Because I was like, huge red flag. This guy's not doing his homework. He's not going to amount to anything. Clearly, I was so upset.
The fact that Priscilla Chan is sitting here today, valedictorian, pediatrician, entrepreneur, billionaire, and mother of two, is, in her words, a miracle.
My grandparents were business people in Saigon. The war hit. They were persecuted. The only way out was to put their children on boats and send them off to sea, and hopefully they find opportunity on the other side. They had one beacon. It's like education was the pathway to a better future.
She was born to refugee parents in low-income housing in Quincy, Massachusetts.
I was always the caregiver. It's the firstborn mentality, but firstborn on steroids because you're the hope and dream for a refugee family.
Her high school, now renovated, was run down and strapped for cash, but her teachers there changed the trajectory of her life.
She's an extraordinary person. She's smart, and she's intuitive, and she's kind.
Peter Swanson taught Chan AP Environmental Science and tennis.
I used to say, just be sure to give back. And boy, you know, she's giving back, but I think she's giving back more than money.
He's like, I heard you're good at science. He's like, now you will play tennis because you need to have leadership skills. Like, you're gonna go to Harvard. And
he said that to you?
Oh yeah, he just was convinced that this was my destiny.
She landed at Harvard on a full scholarship, a dream, but one she never imagined would almost break her.
My one skill set of being smart, I wasn't smart there anymore. I didn't fit in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't belong here. I actually filled out my transfer paperwork to leave.
You did?
I did. Oh, it was so hard. And so I was ready to leave, and
But then a child changed her life.
I worked at a low-income housing project right next door to where I grew up. I met a little girl. She's 10 years old, and her school counselor came to the after-school program looking for her. And I just like walked out to the playground in the housing project, and I found her. I saw that her 2 front teeth were broken, and I was devastated. I thought, what happened? What did I do wrong? Thinking,
did you do wrong?
Like, what did I miss something that led her to actually get hurt? I still remember that moment with anguish and anger and a desire to fight so that other kids aren't like that.
Chan went on to teach and then to medical school. As she and Zuckerberg realized the immense wealth Facebook was bringing them, they wrote in a post to their first daughter, Max, "Like all parents, we want you to grow up in a world better than ours today." And from that, CZI was born.
How has being a parent changed you?
It makes you realize that the important things are limited. There's a lot of stuff that just washes away, and that really working to make sure that your family is healthy and safe is so important. I try to walk in the shoes of folks who don't have the opportunities that my family has.
Chan threw herself into building CZI and its core work on education, justice and opportunity, which includes criminal justice reform, and science.
So this is where the education team lives. They build a tool for teachers to actually understand where kids are in their learning.
CZI's science initiative is led by Corey Bargman.
Cure, prevent, or manage all diseases by the end of the century.
No small goals here.
There is no greater equalizer than health. Everyone deserves a shot. Priscilla really, I think, is the heart of this organization, and these motivations come from her heart.
The Human Cell Atlas, it hopefully will be the next Human Genome Project where we're able to actually sequence the trillions of cells in your body. We are across the organization, majority women.
We don't discriminate. I know, sorry. Hi, Brian.
To work here, you don't need a Harvard or Stanford degree.
It's a miracle I'm sitting where I am today.
Ali Tambora served 12 years in San Quentin prison for felony assault.
So one day, Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan walk in.
Yeah, it was I still remember the day.
We visited a coding class where folks were teaching themselves how to code with no internet.
What did you think when you looked up?
I was just like, oh, wow, is that Mark Zuckerberg? And it was shocking, but what really resonated was his genuine interest in what we were doing.
A chance encounter with a CZI recruiter when he was released 2 years ago turned into a management role helping lead their criminal justice reform work, a $45 million endeavor.
As a formerly incarcerated person, I've paid my debt to society. I am still an American citizen, and I want to contribute.
So many of the people in our criminal justice system lost the opportunity to contribute in a meaningful way in our society before they were ever given a chance.
A chance is what Chan is also trying to give 250 of Palo Alto's most underprivileged children. She founded the primary school, an ambitious mission of combining education with full medical and mental health care for each child.
Selling a dream is really what I was doing.
This is a very ambitious kind of undertaking, and so she recognizes that it's going to take years in the making, and she's in it.
Dr. Meg McNamara led Chan's residency program and has become her mentor.
What do you think when you hear people say, oh, Priscilla Chan, right, Mark Zuckerberg's wife?
Yeah, I would say that there is far more to Priscilla than being the wife of Mark Zuckerberg, and that she is an extremely accomplished physician and at this point an entrepreneur.
No question in your mind she'll change this world for a lot of people.
No question.
Chan and Zuckerberg joined Warren Buffett and Bill and Melinda Gates in the Giving Pledge, vowing to give away almost all of their wealth.
Priscilla is going to be entrusted with huge resources to change this world for the better. I love the fact that it's her.
If we want to have an impact for our children's generation, and not just for our daughters, but for all kids, then it's like you need to start now. This is one of the lessons that that Bill Gates taught me, which was, yeah, you know, if you want to get good at something, even like philanthropy, and you want to be good at it in 10 years, you need to start now.
What do you think will have a more profound, lasting, and important impact on the world? CZI or Facebook?
Facebook has already helped connect a lot of people and has done a lot of good. CZI, I just think, has the opportunity to do so much more in terms of helping people, helping create more education opportunities. I mean, if we can really play a role in empowering scientists to cure, prevent, and manage all diseases, or even the vast majority of diseases over the next 50 years, that's going to be such an important thing for people.
Some may question if, at least in part, CZI is an effort to direct attention away from the obviously difficult and increasingly controversial position Facebook finds itself in, including recent data hacks and its role in Russian election meddling. To that, Chan says, quote, "There are a lot of things that are easier to accomplish for good PR." Chan adds that the two entities are not connected, saying, quote, "CZI is not the Facebook Foundation. CZI has an entirely separate staff, separate offices, and a separate and different mission." Has CZI donated to any political campaigns or politicians?
We work in the advocacy space around issue areas that we have made commitments to. And so we participate and support efforts in those areas, but always in a bipartisan way. We don't see ourselves as political.
So not directly to candidates?
No.
That said, former White House senior advisor to President Obama, David Plouffe, leads CZI's policy and advocacy team. Together, Chan and Zuckerberg have learned how political, even charitable endeavors can become.
A $100 million challenge grant.
$100 million.
You made a famous investment of $100 million in schools in Newark. What was learned from the Newark investment?
We are now almost 7 years out from the Newark investment, and we're seeing really exciting results. We are seeing that the high school graduation rate has gone up 18%.
It's been widely reported in many ways as a failure.
People wrote books and did retrospectives 3 or 4 years in. This work is not work that is going to fully play out in 3 or 4 years. It takes time. The lesson I want us to learn here at CZI is hold yourself accountable, but know that to really understand the full impact of your work, you're just going to need to be patient.
Priscilla Chan has lived a life with some good luck, but it's exactly that luck she wants to take out of the equation for millions of children.
It seems incredibly unjust and a wasted opportunity in our country that people need to get lucky to have access to opportunities. I'm just so inspired by the work and efforts of the people that welcomed my family to this country. I am forever in debt and willing to fight for what I feel like is an extremely American value. And I think that's what makes this country great.